Cupra's first EV looks rather like a Volkswagen ID.3. Is the difference in the driving? The Cupra Born lineup at a glance. Cupra offers two battery sizes in the UK. On versions with the smaller battery, it is possible to get the more powerful e-boost motor as an option. The more powerful motor is standard on bigger battery Borns. There are three trim levels, simply named V1, V2, and V3. Getting the more powerful motor automatically bumps you up to V2. Design and styling. That the Cupra Born looks so similar to the VW ID.3 is unsurprising and somewhat disappointing. Like its German relation, it is based on the shared MAB electric architecture. The platform has been around for a few years now, but VW Group brands have been struggling to give the cars based on it a distinct identity. The larger VW ID.4, Skoda, Enyaq, iV, and Audi Q for e-tron all have a similar silhouettes also. It is an issue the designers have acknowledged, and they have promised the super mini-sized Cupra Urbanable will look radically different from its VW and Skoda siblings. But that's not due until 2025. There are now 3 battery sizes and 3 motor outputs available: 58 kilowatt-hours 60 to kilowatt-hours total capacity, and 77 kilowatt-hours 80 to kilowatt-hours in the regular model, and 79 kilowatt-hours 80 for kilowatt-hours in the VZ. The smallest battery can be specified with either 201 bhp or 2 to 7 bhp, while the middle-sized one always comes with the more powerful e-boost motor. Even its most powerful motor, the Cupra Born VZ, gets an official WLTP electric range stretched to 366 to 372 miles. That's better than the Kia Niro EV, and up there with the Polestar 2. Interior. The first area where the Cupra Born makes a really clear case to pick it over an ID.3 is in the interior. On a fundamental level, much is still a little too similar to what you'd find in the VW. The Born has the same minimal digital gauge cluster that is mounted on the steering column and is fused with the BMW i3 style gear selector that also features in VW's EVS. It works but feels a bit mean and plasticky. Since no space has to be reserved for an engine, the car's footprint can be used more efficiently for passengers and luggage. Indeed, the rear legroom in the Cupra is very impressive indeed, equaling that of BMW 5 Series. The bench isn't set to low either, benefiting the seating position and preserving a decent amount of headroom. Space in the boot isn't quite as impressive because there's a battery pack under the floor, but at 385 liters it's still on a par with a VW Golf. Unfortunately, a false boot floor to create a flat load space when the rear seats are folded, and to hide the charge cables is a 325 pounds option. There are a few hooks for shopping bags, but that's it in terms of clever features. Infotainment. The Cupra Born has essentially the same setup we've seen on VW's various smaller ID brand EVS so far, with a seat Cupra specific skin. It still has the unlit temperature control cum volume bar. It still needs a moment to boot up in the morning. It still doesn't always respond instantly, and the layout is still a bit unintuitive. The built-in navigation is decent enough, though. Both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto can be used wirelessly, but an inductive charger is optional on all Borns. CarPlay proved buggy, and switching to the native interface and back is clunky. Engines and performance. The Cupra Born comes with a single 201 bhp rear motor as standard. E-boost models actually use the same motor, though it can put out 26 bhp more for a short time. That boost is triggered either by pressing the throttle past the kickdown switch or by pressing the Cupra button that the steering wheel of e-boost cars sprout. The performance of our standard 201 bhp car was nearly identical to that of the ID.3 we tested in 2021. The Cupra was marginally faster, but that was most likely thanks to more favorable conditions rather than any mechanical differences. The Born reached 60 miles per hour in 6.7 sec and 100 miles per hour after 27 sec, at which point it runs into its limiter. A Hyundai Kona Electric takes exactly the same time, to reach 60 miles per hour and would pull away from the Cupra after that, but the Born would likely close the gap in its more powerful forms. Some testers preferred the B mode, which ups the regen to a constant, but still relatively mild level. It can be slightly too harsh on the motorway, but in most situations, and with a bit of anticipation, you can avoid using the brake pedal most of the time. It stops short of offering one-pedal driving. However, since the car will never come to a stop by itself, auto hold can be toggled in the settings. When you do need to use the left pedal, it feels reassuringly solid, and the two braking methods are intuitively blended. In an emergency stop from 70 miles per hour, the Cupra will pull up in a distance that is 2 meters shorter than the Kona Electric, despite its rear drum brakes. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for other latest videos.